and welcome to Loidophilia. We are once again joined this year for the first time with by James White. James White for our fourth interview. Welcome, James. Thanks for being here.
Bonjour. Hello, welcome.
The
Great to be
nice
back on the show.
bonjour. Yeah. Hi, Aurélie. Hi, Pedro. Thanks for being here with us. So that's actually the fourth time we interview you, James. We have lots of questions, but first of all, as a preamble, it's not something that's very important, but I wanted to mention because the international community might not know about it. But I've been working with LSS for several months now. I'm working as an account manager for Europe and specifically for France, and I wanted to tell everybody about it because it's something that, like a full disclosure moment, it's not gonna change the way we do content, and it's not gonna change anything about the channel. But I'm just working for the good of the game. It's a game I've loved for many years now, and I'm working for the game now. It's something that I'm very proud and happy about. And there you go. Fourth time we're interviewing you, and it's a lot has changed over the years, of course. A lot has changed since the first time we interviewed you for the game. But one of the mainstays, you've always been there. You're always there. You're traveling to the events. You're traveling, signing, talking to fans, signing cards, doing all kinds of stuff. And the very first question we asked you when we interviewed you a couple of years ago was, "Who are you, James White?" But the question I want to ask you now is, "How are you?" And how do you do it? How do you do all that stuff? Are you tired yet? How do you feel? How are you?
I'm actually feeling really, really good. And like a really big factor on that is we've welcomed a lot of really smart, great, talented, hardworking people into the LSS team over the past 12 months, especially. So I think when you probably first interviewed me, we maybe had about 12 people at LSS, and now we have 47 as of today, and we're still hiring. And in fact, we're moving to a new studio, which is much bigger than our current premise. We're moving there in December so that we can continue to welcome more people onto the team. So for me, that's been a really exciting part of the journey is just having like surrounding myself with just very smart people, and it means that um, I can spend my time focus more on certain areas, particularly around product design, and that part of the business, which is where my heart is. To be honest, it's this the thing that I enjoy the most. Um, and yeah, just we have exceptional people to go and take you know take the business forward in their particular area, whether it's marketing or so on. And I think that you can see that very visibly in some areas of the business, right? Like organized players really starting to come into his own now. Trevor in the team in the OP department, they're actually getting ahead of that lead time and providing that runway and visibility for the fans. And on that point, we're going to be announcing the next pro tour in a couple of days. So there's going to be a good 6 months or more of lead time for people to know where it is, when it is, and start to plan your travel and so on. And then you can look at some of the marketing that we're doing, the product trailers and all of that stuff that's out there. And this all comes about just from having great people as part of LSS. And even yourself, Roman, you've been on the ground in Europe, really helping to promote and grow the game and welcome on those new stores and provide them with the support. And that's what creates this upcoming 2000 French Discord celebration that's coming up. Like it doesn't just happen randomly, by chance. It happens because people like yourself are out there working really hard every day to grow this community and grow the store network. So um, yeah, that's been huge. It's been just a huge difference for me as a human, and on a personal level to be able to, I guess, get back a little bit more time for myself and for my family, and a little bit more balance in my life as well, because there's many years of 16-hour days back to back to back, week on week on week. So yeah, we're in a good place. But thank you for asking.
Yeah, the game has grown a lot. It's actually impressive, like working with LSS now, seeing how it grows daily. I mean, and the fact that it's growing so fast in Japan. The game is almost 4 years old now. I think the birthday is next week. in 10 days.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little 9 days
yeah,
now. You've always
that's
said in
right.
interviews that you've always had a clear vision for the game, but has the game grown the way you envisioned? What's changed or shifted from your original vision for the game over the last few years?
I really think that we are delivering on what the vision was, which was, play the game, see the world, and it all starts in the local game store and having those feeder events that like the Road to Nationals and the Pro Quest that qualify you for the big international events, and then traveling around the world to play at the highest level, and with sort of the calling sitting in between. So I think that we are delivering on what that vision was, but there's still more to be done. Like we do want to be offering even more, like marquee events to to plan and travel to. So next year you can expect to see more callings and more of the really high profile marquee events, as the game continues to grow around the world.
So it was pre-release weekend just yesterday,
Mm.
and I've seen different reaction during the weekend. Like first wave was, "Oh, Teklovosen is too easy to play. Like it's easy to win with fatigue strategy." And then the day after, people were saying, "Oh, but I think I know now how to win with the other one." And now that people have played a bunch of game, everyone seems to enjoy the limited format. And we also have seen a change in the rules, like the fact that you can't play legendary now, or you can't play more than 40 cards and stuff like that. So there were more, the design and the rules have changed so that the limited format is more enjoyable. What was all the thinking behind that?
Yeah, so Bright Lights was a very innovative product for us in terms of the product engineering. And, to be honest, it was quite a big risk to do a set that only has a single class in
Yeah.
it. But, we really want to push the boundaries and to create unique experiences for the players. And like playing in a limited format, particularly when people start drafting this, it's just something unlike anything that's existed in Flesh and Blood before. And I think that our job as game designers is to create compelling puzzles, for fans to immerse into and explore. um so yeah, this product was very much driven by a desire to create a innovative limited format product, being sealed deck, being booster draft, and being the 3-pack crack, shuffle, and play. And that really was the primary driver behind why we did this product the way that we did it.
And do you think we will see more of this kind of like one class set for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. We're already looking at some other single class sets for the future. It needs to be done in the right way though. We don't want every set to be like this. It needs to be kind of something that happens from time to time, or even something that sits outside of the three standalone sets that we're going to be making each year. So sort of like a core product offering is three big standalone draftable sets per year, and then there'll be other smaller things that sit in between those big releases. So you might start seeing some of these like single class like product offerings as those sort of in between releases.
Do you already know which class will suit the best for this? Or
That's a secret, but yeah, we've already made up a few, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Pedro looks
Okay.
like he knows what class needs
Number
help.
5. Yeah, what
No,
class needs help?
I won't make any guess today, but I have a few ideas. Um, I
Okay.
wanted to know about the limited process, the design you have behind Tales of Aria, which, from my point of view, most of people seems to enjoy. Uprising, where people seems to dislike the limited experience, and now Outsiders and Bright Lights, who seems to be a consensus in the community that it's the best limited experience we had so far for these two sets, at least in sealed for Bright Lights. Can you tell us about the improvement you made and the design process? What changed?
Yeah, sure. So, what changed? So, well, a big change is that we've welcomed Brian Gottlieb onto our team as a senior game designer, and it's been incredible having his experience and wisdom and like leadership. So it's been a huge asset to the team having Brian. But also just a lot of credit needs to go out to the game devs as well. We've got a really solid team of I think it's 12 game devs who have been with us for years now, and it just took a while to sort of like get that stability within that team. There was a lot of people coming and going in the early stages, and a lot of those guys, they but we're the only TCG publisher in Oceania, right? So it's not like we had existing talent to go and draw upon when we started out. So kind of had to hire people who were very passionate about Flesh and Blood, and maybe they were playing TCGs for many years, but it doesn't necessarily make you a game developer. So it just takes time to like learn what it actually means to be a game developer and become like a master of your craft. So most of those guys have been with us for over 2 years, even 3 years plus for some of them. And yeah, we've built in really like much more robust processes and checkpoints, and just that kind of institutionalized knowledge base that exists now is what you're seeing come through as better product designs. And I think you'll continue to see this. We're working 3 sets into the future from what Bright Lights is now, and like I have a huge amount of confidence that the next 2 sets that are coming out, which are both draftable, are exceptional quality when it comes to limited gameplay.
Great. Now regarding the CC, Briar is gone, Lexi is almost gone. Icelander will probably follow.
Oldhim is gone.
Yeah, a long time ago. Are you afraid about the next meta game with so much Mechanoids cards and the shift so close to the World Championship? How do you expect it to change?
We're very excited to see what I refer to as Flesh and Blood Generation 1 flush out, which is primarily like getting rid of Voltaire from the game. I think it's going to be a very positive thing for the game. And also, I think farewelling Icelander will be a positive thing for the game as well. Just moving into an era post-Ice, I think will be enjoyable. It's not that we won't do Ice again in the future. It definitely has a place in Flesh and Blood, but we're going to have a good long break from Ice. And there are other Ice heroes that we will make in the future that do things other than Frostbites as well. There's more to Ice than Frostbites. So we're very much looking forward to the upcoming metagame. Internally, we've been talking about like we kind of feel like kids waiting for Christmas, waiting to open our presents. That's sort of our sentiment towards the upcoming changes, and we very much want it to come through and to see the metagame post Lexi in particular, and Icelander to a slightly lesser extent. Mechanoids getting 260 new cards or whatever it is. Yeah, it's a huge injection into their card pool, and we do expect some of those heroes to be very competitive. Our internal testing will lead us to believe that we think it's going to be a pretty diverse metagame with lots of options to top 8 and win tournaments going forward. But yeah, over to the pro players out there to prove us wrong.
I have a last question regarding CC. You said that the cards cannot be unplayable for more than a year, and the Shadow Runeblade cards are still unplayable for more than a year. When do you expect to give us what you promise? I mean, a Shadow Runeblade hero.
Yeah,
you knew this question was coming, James.
I love you, Pedro. Yeah. Yeah, you've put me on the spot there. Just I'm gonna need a little bit more time. I need an extension. Look, Vincent's good in Blitz. It won a battle hardened. Vincent's moving up that leaderboard. Probably needs a little bit of help in CC though, and we're aware of that. Shadow Runeblade is so dangerous. I got to admit that when we were making Vincent, we were cautious. We were very cautious about, yeah, what the power level that we put out with that hero. Like Chain obviously just dominated, right? Chain was one of the best, if not the best hero that has existed in the game, and we really didn't want Vincent to come out and just be Chain 2.0. So we were very aware that we were putting Vincent out at a modest power level, and it's something that we can design into over time. And we also knew that Vincent was much stronger in Blitz than she is in CC, and it's kind of what we've seen demonstrated in the real world. But yeah, give me a little bit of time.
Okay.
We have
It's
another
just too
question
much
about
choose.
but we have another question about Chain and the Living Legend format, but it's gonna be for a little bit later in the interview. But I wanted to ask about the aesthetics of Bright Lights. You've probably seen online on Twitter and the debates about the aesthetics and the fact that it's a big departure from the steampunk environment that we saw in Arcane Rising for Dash. It's more neon punk, like cyberpunk. I know that your official answer was that it's more fun that way and that you thought it was fun, but some people are worried that a hero like Reinhardt has no place fighting a Terminator tank or something. It doesn't make sense in the lore of the game. But what's your response to that? To those questions about how do you make it more coherent in the game that something like Matrix can happen at the same time as Reinhardt and as someone like Kano? How do these heroes actually fight together in your vision for the game?
Yeah, like I'm just not convinced that like a wizard wielding ether loses to a Terminator tank. I think that Kano just melts that shit.
But
Iceland
what
just
about
like
Reinhardt? He's fighting with a wooden club, man.
yeah, that one there might be a little bit imbalanced, but I think that magic versus technology is like an equitable, combat. Why not?
But we will have more of a in-lore explanation of all the world moves around and fits together, and all how the technology is so advanced in Matrix and so, I mean, not advanced in Solana or in the Savage Lands, for example. How will we know more about it in the coming months or years?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, one of the things about metrics and all of these contraptions and uh mechs and things like that is like they need an energy source, right? And they can't stray too far from home. They gotta be on the grid. So like that's why that you don't see metrics, an army full of mechanoids just, you know, rampaging across Wraith because they can't stray too far from their power source.
Yeah, so that's why Solana didn't ask for Matrix's help against the demons. It would have been so much easier.
It would have been, but yeah, Matrix would have given them the cold shoulder. I think they're not
Oh,
interested in helping Solana in that battle.
so that's why we need more lore about the politics of of Wraith. I want to know more about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you might have seen a hint of well, who knows, maybe which side Matrix is on. I mean, Teklo Vossen's dabbling
Yeah.
in some some dark stuff,
Oh yeah.
I don't think he's out there to help Solana in their
The
time of
macro
need.
potent. Yeah, he's not a nice guy. Definitely.
Okay. So this weekend, this was the pre-release, but there were also another product coming. So the Round the Table product. I'm personally about it. It's just on my table over there. We still need to test it.
I have it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Yes.
opened it and I still haven't opened the deck. I need to find two other friends to play. So are we expecting more of this kind of projects towards multiplayer experience? Is it the first of a long series, or will it be just a one time in the year?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to do more round the tables. Sort of our goal at this point would be one per year. But I think that there is a real need for us to do more for social players around the world. I think Flesh and Blood is, we do a really good job for competitive play. But there's a lot of people who just like to play for fun. They're not interested in the Pro Tour or World Championship. They're interested in maybe that it exists, but they don't, want to go and compete at the highest level. But they just want to sit around and play games and have fun with their friends and family. So yeah, we need to make more products that appeal to those kinds of gamers out there. And I think Round the Table does a great job of doing that, and we should make more of them, and we will. But I think it'll be about one per year. That's the goal.
Is there a chance that you would collaborate with other content creators like you did with the prof from Tolarian Community College? Like, I don't know how many subscribers Lloydophilia needs to do a set where I can play with Aurelia or Pedro heroes, but I'll be all in for that. So just give me a number and we're going there.
Sounds good. Yeah. So all you people out there watching this, hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and we'll get around the table here with your video in the pipeline.
Okay, perfect. It's a goal now. It's a live goal for me to play a game with Pedro.
I will never be in a non-competitive multiplayer Flesh and Blood game. It's not interesting at all for me.
One of my goals is to have him for a multiplayer game at some point, and to stream it.
We can do that.
Yeah,
probably. And so with
that's why we make bright lights for you, Pedro. And eventually we'll make Shadow Blade good again. That's for you.
Okay.
Oh, maybe that's a bargain we have to do. So you say one project per year, and it's a long time we are talking about PvE. Is it something which is finally coming soon, or is it something will require more time to think about?
Like, is there any new information?
More time.
Yeah.
Need more time. Yep.
Is that a balance thing? Because you've always said that you wanted the product to be perfect. So is that how to balance, or how to make it something that's good enough for you and for what you think the players expect?
Well, I'll just be honest with you. It's just a bandwidth thing. Our focus and priorities have been in other areas, like, getting our draftable sets good, which you're starting to see. So all of our resources have been prioritized around, just creating, the best standalone draftable sets that we can, and just, getting further ahead on that pipeline. And just we're getting close to the point where we can start to explore other, supplementary things like PvE. Round the Table is a good example of that. It sits outside of that core, product, offering that we have. But we're just going to make sure that we are staying focused and disciplined on the the core of what Flesh and Blood is. And the social gaming is really important, and we're absolutely committed to doing more for social gaming. But like the heart of what Flesh and Blood is, and LSS is it is based on that competitive play. It is based on play the game, see the world. Like that is what the foundation of LSS is. So I just got to be honest with you. Like, our priority and our resources have been allocated there completely over the last year. But as I mentioned at the start of the interview, we've been welcoming a lot of exceptional people into the organization, and that's allowing us to do more things and to explore, more different kinds of products. And one of those will be PvE, but we do need more time to get it done.
And not for Christmas this year.
No, it's not a Christmas present.
Not for Christmas this year. Probably not even Christmas next year, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay.
Is that something that before we talk more about Worlds and what's coming up towards the end of the competitive season this year, I wanted to ask about the translation of the product for Europe specifically. There's still 2 sets that haven't been translated. Do you have a bit of more information about when we will be able to play Fire and Drama in French, or German, Italian, and Spanish too? Is there a timeline for that?
I actually don't know.
We can
But we
cut
should
this
do it.
question. We can
It's
edit
not
it
the right
out.
You're
person to ask.
absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. It should be done. It should be done. But I don't know when it's going to be done, but it should be done, and it needs to get done. So when I come back on the next interview number 5, you can ask me again, and I hope I have an answer for you.
Maybe HP3.
I don't know. I don't know whether it's the right way to do it. We should do it. I need to go back and work it out. At least we're doing simultaneous releases now, though. I think there was a really critical thing that we needed to get done, and yeah. So, I mean, what do you guys think about the translation recently? Translation for Bright Lights and Dusk Till Dawn.
I mean, the translation for Since Outsiders has been amazing, and I know that the response from the players is tremendous too. Everybody loves it now, and there's been lots of headway made to make sure that it's more lore relevant to. It's not only that it's right in terms of gameplay; it's also fun and also very flavorful in terms of lore, so it works very well in all aspects, and that's something that the game needed, to make sure that the jokes, the in-jokes, and all the play on words were properly translated, and that's something that the translation team has, I know that they've worked a lot on it, and it's definitely been a game changer.
The best example I can give you is that a few weeks ago, all the Blitz decks in French were out of stocks everywhere in France. And we had to call a bunch of local game stores to ask them to order again other decks, because every single shop in France were out of stock, almost all of them.
Okay.
So
wow.
Yeah, a lot of new players.
Well, I'm pleased to hear. Yeah.
Perfect.
So maybe we can talk more about Worlds now. I think we have a question.
So Worlds is coming. It will be a big weekend. So there is the main event, but there is also a lot of stuff happening on the side for everyone. You will be there. What are the events you are expecting the most to see, except from the main event, which is the main? But what are the cool stuff to see and to watch?
Absolutely, we've got a lot of cool stuff lined up. So we'll start things off on Thursday with the banquet and keynote presentation. So we'll be revealing a lot about the 2024 organized play schedule, and giving a first look at the next booster set coming out, a little bit more details about the next booster set coming out, and just a general roadmap of what the product release schedule will look like for 2024. So there's all that good stuff to look forward to on Thursday. And of course, we're going to have the national flag procession also as part of that Thursday banquet event, and really celebrate all of the national champions. And I think it's 48 countries that'll be represented at Worlds this year, which is incredible. Obviously on Friday, moving on to the main event, that'll be the primary thing for the Friday. Saturday, we have the calling. We have cosplay, which is always just an amazing show. Really looking forward to seeing the cosplayers. We are very close to announcing some special guests that will be in attendance. I don't want to spoil that one yet, but we've got some really, really big name special guests coming over. I believe it's first time in Europe for one of the special guests. First time in Europe at a TCG show. So yeah, hopefully all the European players will appreciate getting a chance to meet that person. And on Sunday we have the Battle Harden, which is maybe the event that I'm the most looking forward to checking out, which is the first ever official Living Legend format tournament. And
look at Pedro's face now.
The Living Legend format. Yeah, it's gonna be fun, right? Get your chain out there, get your Stavo out there, whatever, get your Prism and Luminaris going, whatever. Like, it's gonna be some crazy stuff going on. Full power Briar, all of that good stuff. So I think we're excited for Living Legend format because we don't know what's going to happen. Like, it might just be degenerate. It might be like incredible games. We might see some interesting, tech coming through, like obviously things like Skeleta being playable and Viscera being able to do crazy Skeleta Sonata stuff, and how does the metagame evolve and adapt to that? Do we see decks like Icelander becoming like an interesting choice, even though she's not a Living Legion, but she has like some of the best ways to interact with some of the degenerate stuff that the other Living Legion heroes are doing. So there's just it's going to be really fun to watch and see what decks rise to the top. We're going to be giving away a prize at that Battle Hardened, which is very, very significant. It's yet to be announced. And I think once that's announced, it's just going to add another layer of prestige and excitement to this particular event, because it'll be the very first time you're able to get this thing. And it's a very, very, very special and significant piece of flesh and blood memorabilia. So if I had to choose one thing, it's the Living Legion format, but the whole weekend will be packed full of fun and so many just like side events, artists. There's going to be a ton of artists there, special guests, and just like, obviously the really competitive stuff, but also just a lot of like really fun, casual, events to sign up and get into as well.
What's your guess for the winner?
For the
Hero?
Living Legion.
Living Legion.
Yes.
I don't know. Like, it's tough. It's a tough one to pick. Like, if you
had
it's hard to bet
play,
against
if you had to play
Starboy.
with,
If I had to play,
and win.
I don't know. I'd probably go and brew something interesting, something that tries to like attack the expected metagame from a different angle. But I think that like Starvo is obviously, like kind of the deck to beat, and he's interesting because he has access to some of the most disruptive cards. I think things like Channel the Bleak Expanse is like a pretty interesting card in Living Legend format that a deck like Icelander, for example, can play with. Get to interact with the Skeleta Sonata play and so on. And obviously it's like reasonably disruptive, or at least it does slow Starvo down a little bit as well. So the fact that Starvo also gets to play with Channel the Bleak Expanse, I think, is an interesting card. The fact that he gets to play with Channel like Frigid to stop some of the other, maybe like the Briar Degenerate, maybe the Cheerio style deck again, or maybe it's Channel Mount Heroic with Ball Lightnings, like whatever. It's like I'm sure the Briar can do some very, very explosive, aggressive builds out there. And I think it's Starvo. He comes with power, but he also comes with like some of the most potent disruptive tools as well. So that probably will be my starting point. But I'm an innovator. I love deck building and brewing and trying to come up with some like tier 2 stupid rogue shit that just can beat the best decks in the format. And then generally lose to like someone else doing fair stuff. So that's probably where I would end up.
So if I understand well, nobody at LSS did testing, and you just want us to test for you and explain to you what are the good bands and go from
pretty
there.
much.
Is there going to be a ban list at some point, or is that going to be the Far West forever? Like anyone can play any card, and it's going to be a free for all with all kinds of insane shit?
I would hope that we can not have banned cards. My hope would be that we could have restricted cards. But yeah, I do, using Magic as the analogy, like I do hope it can be like the vintage of Flesh and Blood, where you can play with like every card that's been printed, outside of the special use promo cards. That would be my hope.
I hope so too.
And so now, every time you replace a hero who has been Living Legend, you replace them with like nerf version, like the new Priestman, the new Chain, or
Vincent.
Vincent, yeah, the new Chain is not really Chain. So how hard is it to do that? Like to still have a hero which is not as strong as the previous one, and still doing something.
Yeah, so I think it really comes down to design thinking has evolved over time. I do think that there was a generation like Generation 1, Gen 1 of Flesh and Blood design thinking and philosophy, and like a Gen 2. And Gen 2 is very much about, in general, making heroes work harder for action points. And by heroes, I mean like what we refer to as SIP. So the start and play, stay and play permanents being primarily the hero card and their weapon. So yeah, action points were much more free flowing in Gen 1. Things like Chain and his activated ability, things like Luminaris, things like Voltaire, things like Briar being able to create embodiment of lightnings and so on. And we just want to do less of that for Generation 2 going forward. The other thing just to keep in mind is the card pool continues to grow, right? So as the card pool grows, more powerful cards become available. There kind of needs to be like a counterbalance to that in some ways, which is when the card pool was smaller, you could just generally do less powerful things with the overall card pool, like having hero cards themselves that were a little bit more juiced was maybe okay, but as we keep growing that card pool, those sips need to just be toned down by quite a lot. And from our internal development and testing, this Gen 2 batch of heroes just has very, very good gameplay, right? Like you don't need to be doing degenerate stuff and overly powerful stuff to have good games. Like just as long as there's sort of an equitable power level between the heroes, or these are at least opportunities for the metagame to churn, for decks to flux in and out of being, the tier 1 deck and the tier 2 deck, and there's some like mobility between these different, tiers to keep the puzzle interesting. So that's sort of how we look at it. But yeah, you can, in general, expect heroes to be probably a notch lower in raw power than some of the very early designs that I know that you fondly love, but you got them. You get to enjoy them in Living Legend format going forward. I honestly think that Living Legend format is going to be a really important part of the game holistically as we move forward in time, and we will be like supporting that format through events all the way up to the calling level as we go forward. So there'll be plenty of opportunities to play with your old favorites into the future.
And looking even further ahead, is there a plan to help heroes that have historically struggled to be relevant in the metagame? I know that some heroes that have no shot almost at going to the Living Legend at some point, like Boltin for Agni, for example, that seem to have struggled a lot recently. Can we expect reworks of these heroes, like a Starvo version for Boltin or for Arachnis, for example, or more like what happened with Levia, where you had a different axis where the hero can play around? Is there a plan to help to boost these strong heroes, these weak heroes, to make them a bit stronger?
Yeah, like
other than releasing new cards, I mean, yeah.
All the heroes that we make have a fond place in our heart, and we don't want to leave any of them behind. So like we do have a pretty good level of awareness on what heroes are going to be good after each product release. Like for example, when Outsiders came out of development, we knew that Lexi was going to be the best ranger and one of the tier 1 decks in the format, if not the best deck, and she eventually proved that, particularly after Autumn Living Legend. But to be fair, though, Azalea became competitive as well, though. She did top 8 the Pro Tour Baltimore, and she has put up a number of notable performances, and I feel like she's a credible hero going forward. So look, we do want to keep giving all of the heroes support, and I very much do keep an eye on the Living Legend leaderboard. Like, I am personally the one who updates it as we move through the seasons, because it's very, very, well, it's important for me as a designer to be understanding like how these heroes are performing in the metagame, so that we can make sure that we are designing appropriately. We don't want to keep giving the best heroes more and more and more of the best cards. We do want to try and give more to the heroes that are maybe midfield or struggling. When it comes to Bolton specifically, though, that might be the hero that the devs are the most scared of, to be honest. Like that hero between Luminar Ascension and the tutor, sorry for the tutor that searches it out. Like those two cards,
Yeah, Beacon.
the beacon. Sorry, thank you. The beacon. Those two cards scare the shit out of the devs. Like they and like they are very much of the opinion that like Bolton is it'll get to the point where it's like, the grain of sand that just like tips the scale
Yeah.
and the whole thing is just like broken, right?
It's
And I
either weak
think
or
that
broken.
they have been,
Yeah.
yeah, like they have been quite cautious of trying to keep that hero uh I guess in check, like playable but not this tier 0 deck that just destroys the tournament scene. Um, so we may have painted ourselves a little bit into a corner with Luminar Ascension in particular. Like the card is just like so insanely powerful.
Yeah.
But I do have hope that we can continue to give Bolton new tools to play in different ways as well. Because obviously there's like very different builds, right? Your Saber combo, your Raiden builds, and some people still play with hatchets from time to time, and like keep giving Bolton new cards that he can play in different ways, without just demolishing the tournament scene with a tier 0 Bolton combo deck. Like that's kind of what we need to do. But you can see I got a Raiden in the background here. I like
Can you show
Bolton.
it?
Bolton's dear to me as well.
I know you are, but that's why I wanted to ask you a question about it, because I hope that there'll be some hope at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I don't have any competitive ambitions, but I'd love to be able to beat Pedro consistently with Raiden and with Boltin, because he always makes fun of him and of me for playing him. So at some point, maybe I can beat him more regularly with it. I've beat him in once or twice, but he destroys me usually.
Yeah, for what it's worth, Bolton did win one reasonably big national champs. I think it
Yeah.
was the Dutch national
Yeah,
champs.
yeah, he won the
Yeah,
Dutch nationals. Yeah,
yeah. So that was like a big nationals, and so like he can win, but like I acknowledge that it's tough. It's
it
tough
is
taking
tough.
Bolton,
Yeah,
yeah, to a tournament. Yeah, but yeah, keep the hope. We're not giving up on Bolton or any of these heroes. Um, and particularly with the expansion slot, as we
yeah,
introduced with Bright Lights, this is the vehicle for us to give all of these heroes something new every release. And there's some really exciting expansion slot cards coming up. Like we saw, there's some really hot expansion slot cards in Bright Lights. Um, there's some shitters as well. I'll be honest with you. They're not all top caliber, but uh, some of them are exceptional, and you'll
yeah.
continue to see that as we release sets. Like the heroes that need that, like that big oomph. We will try and deliver some exciting expansion slot content for them.
Can you expect the expansion slot to be a mainstay for all sets from now on?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Like it's really, really important in the absence of the supplementary booster
Mm-hmm.
sets. Like it's really important.
Okay. So now we've seen lots of milestones hit by Flesh and Blood over the last few years. What's to conclude this interview? It's already been very long, and thank you so much for that. But what's the next milestone that would be personally for you very important to hit in the next few months or years? What's the next thing that you want Flesh and Blood to achieve?
From the product point of view, it's releasing those 3 draftable big sets per year, which we will do that in 2024. And the intention is for all of the big sets every year going forward to be draftable. So I believe that we will achieve that, and we definitely will achieve it in 2024. And I think that's a really big milestone for us. From the events, the organized play point of view, it's about giving the players that lead time, that runway of being able to plan out, 6 months or more into the future of what the marquee, the big, the calling and pro tour level events are, so that they can start like really planning, their leave and their travel around those big time events. I don't want to reveal too much about what we're doing with OP next year, because it is going to be a big part of the keynote presentation at Worlds, but we are going to be investing a lot more into organized play next year. Like I've always said to the fans around the world, when they've asked me at the Q&As and things like, will the $1 million prize pool ever increase? And I've always said, with your help to keep growing Flesh and Blood, get out there and welcome new players into the community. Yes, it will. And at Worlds in the keynote, we'll be announcing what that means. And yeah, just recently we celebrated our 4,000th store joining the Gem network. And that was a tremendous milestone. For some context, I think there's around 6,500 WPN stores. There's the Magic Wizards Play Network stores around the world. There's about 4,500 Bandai official stores around the world. So to get to 4,000 is getting up there in the leagues of the biggest publishers in the world, and it's something that we're really proud of. So another milestone will absolutely be hitting 5,000 stores eventually, and a big part of that is welcoming on new markets. So Japan is been in a really exciting launch for us over the last month or so. There's been a few hundred stores. I think it's 150 stores who signed up in the first month, which is just incredible. And we're really looking forward to welcoming more Japanese stores into the Flesh and Blood community, and the player base there is growing very quickly, and we're bringing the high level organized play to Japan across the back end of 2023 with Battle Hard in Tokyo, a week or so away. We had the Japanese National Championship a few weeks ago, and we'll be bringing the highest level of OP there, calling and so on over time. So it's been absolutely just beautiful, just so just heartwarming to see the response from the Japanese fans. Yeah. In many ways, Japan is the home of TCG with so many great publishers there and just so many very strong, IPs and games that have come out of Japan. And we're very honored to have been welcomed by the Japanese community. And, other parts of the world are just growing phenomenally as well. Latin America, Brazil, just tremendous communities and player base there. Philippines, absolutely exceptional. Those guys are running like 70 plus player armory events regularly. It's just absolutely mind blowing what's happening in the Philippines. And then parts of Latin America I know are very, very keen for us to launch. And we will eventually, but as I always say, when we go to a new market, we need to go there with all of the resources and all of the support to make sure that we're doing the best that we can by the stores and the players in those countries. So the rest of Latin America is it is a little way off yet, but we will eventually get there. And when we go, we'll be going with 100%. So yeah, that's the sort of the summary of the milestones that I'm looking forward to.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much, James, for taking the time. We are very grateful that you took so much time to talk to us about everything Flesh and Blood related. Do you have a last word for the French community? Because we are, of course, dedicated to the French community. We're probably gonna show the interview during the Battle Harden in Toulouse. So if you have anything to say to the French community, now's the time.
Yeah, just thank you so much for your support. It's been incredible seeing the growth of the French player base, and just very grateful for your support. Romain, Aurélie, and Pedro, you've done an amazing job as ambassadors in the French TCG industry and space for us. And just, we want to keep making great products for you guys and bringing great events like Toulouse this weekend and, callings, and eventually, like I'll put it out there, it's at the top of my wish list. It's very, very near and dear to my heart, but I eventually want to bring a Pro Tour level event to Paris. It's a city that I very, very, very much want to visit and spend some time in. So we will eventually get there. It's on the roadmap, and I very much look forward to when we can finally do that. But yeah, I'll be in Barcelona, and hopefully a lot of the French community can make it over and can meet you in person and enjoy some company. But yeah,
and we'll
thank
see
you very much,
in Barcelona too. Yeah. we'll obviously all be
Absolutely.
there in Barcelona. Thank you so much, Jem. Thank you, Aurélie. Thank you, Pedro. And guys, our viewers, talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Absolutely. See you guys soon. Thank you.